Good morning. This is a bit of an update into how I'm progressing with the Jack Vance compendium Planet of Adventure. This compendium includes all 4 books that he wrote in the series. The first one was City of the Chesh, something like that. And there's a previous video on that. I might link it below if I remember. I've just finished the second one, Servants of the Wankh. A word about the name of this book. I can't think of any way to pronounce it other than Wankh, which is a good old, English word, originated in Britain, is in very common use in Australia. And I had a little bit of a look at the etiology of the word. When these books were written, it was between, I think it was 68 and 1970 when they were published as a compendium, so late 60s. By the late 60s, the word was in increasingly common use. It's been around since the 1800s, but yeah, by 1968, it was on the rise. So I don't know if Jack Vance was taking the piss a bit or if he just thought it was funny, but the second book is called Servants of the Wankh, or Wankh, I don't know, one of those. So this whole series and the previous one is based on the planet Chai or Techi, I'm not sure about that. It orbits a star called Carina 4269. I'm not 100% sure if that's a real star or not. It probably is, knowing Vance. And in the first book we met Adam Reith, who was marooned on the planet after his exploration vehicle with 2 men in it crashed. It didn't crash so much as was torpedoed out of the sky from somewhere on the planet. The planet is a mix of different alien races, different human races that have evolved as servants of the alien race, and there's a huge range of technologies available there too. So Servants of the Wankh begins with Adam Reith with a couple of companions he's picked up along the way, travelling to the distant country, one of those of Kath. One of the companions he picked up during his trip was a beautiful young girl called probably Lin Lan, who had been kidnapped by some priestesses for a horrible rite. Reith rescues her, becomes her lover, and in the beginning of the second book, they're on the way back to Kath. Lin Lan has portrayed Kath as a place where there's high technology, and Reith has the hopes of either purchasing or constructing or acquiring in some way a spaceship that will get him back to Earth. Along the journey, he slowly learns more about Kath. It's a very stratified, very rule-bound society, and when he gets there without Lin Lan, who vanishes along the way, and I'm not going to spoil that in case you're going to watch it. When he gets there, he finds the gratitude of her father lacking, and the technology of the society very, very lacking. So eventually he leaves the city with his companions. He's still travelling with 2 companions that he picked up in the first book. One is a very young man, probably a teenager, by the name of Traz. When Reith was first captured on the planet, he was captured by the Emblems, and Traz was at the time their leader, but Traz has given up being an emblem and is travelling with Reith. Good character, subtle, you don't see a lot of him, but you are taught that as a nomad, he's got really good senses. He can tell when people are coming, he can tell when enemies are coming. He's a very moderate presence, but he's a stabilizing one and a good character. There's another one, Ansho, something like that. He's a Durdur man. Anasho, not Ansho. Durdur man. The Durdur are one of the many alien species on this planet. Durdur men are humans. They appear to be of human stock, but they've been living with the dodo for so long they've developed a set of characteristics, almost like a subrace, and each of the different races on this planet have. When they escape Kath, Reith eventually goes to yet another city, that where the Wankh live, and the Wankh men. Yes. He'd already seen this city during the sea voyage that took them all to Kath, and he'd seen a space field there with a few ships sitting on it without apparently any guards. The Wankh are a very strange species. They sound a bit like a giant upright slug. They don't have good audio skills. They communicate via chimes, but the chimes are difficult for humans to understand and impossible to replicate without some sort of device. So they're very obscure. In the first Planet of Adventure, City of the Shash, Reith came across a city that was basically humans were being subverted, I suppose, enslaved by the Shash. It was a great adventure. He ended up liberating one city from a warlord, liberating the other city from the Shash, and handing it back to humans. It was all a great big adventure. In Servants of the Wankh, he finds the opposite. In these huge, what sound like sort of volcanic glass cities, live these aliens who have a high degree of technology but can't communicate with humans, so they rely on their human servants, who apparently are doing the dirty on them. So in this second one, Adam Reith actually ends up saving the alien Wankh from the Wankh men who'd been betraying them. In the course of it, he saves him and his companions who have failed to steal a ship. The whole notion behind this second adventure was getting to this particular city, stealing a spaceship. And when they do, they actually steal one of the aliens with it, but they can't make it go and they crash land in a lake. It's a good, fun, solid science fiction. Yeah, it's pulp, but it's good pulp. It's well written. I always like Jack Vance's writing. I can't even put my finger on what I like about it so much. It's fun. It's easy to read. Its cadence is such that it's actually relaxing and enjoyable for me personally to read. I know not everyone likes all of Vance's work, but I definitely do. They're worth reading just for his writing, in my opinion. But in Planet of Adventure, what we've got basically is an old school John Carter of Mars-esque type story, where an author's gone to a great deal of trouble building in his head a whole planet with lots of different cities and lots of different technologies, lots of different alien races, all doing their own thing, intersecting, but not always harmoniously. There's a lot of under-politics. Vance doesn't go into the politics too much, but there's clearly things bonding the different civilizations and aliens and other things tearing them apart. Lots of fun to read. I went straight onto the second one after the first, actually. I couldn't really set my mind on anything else that I wanted to read. And really, there aren't a lot of books like this. A book where the main purpose of it is basically to have a human having adventures on a foreign planet that has been very nicely detailed and worked out. I do enjoy it. The next alien race we're going to encounter is the Dir, D-I-R, of which there's a Dir man in Reith's company and a show. So that will be fun. I feel that I probably need to take a little bit of a break and read something else in the meantime. But I have really enjoyed Servants of the Wankh, and I look forward to the next two in this compendium. I guess my goal would be to finish it, if not by the end of April, then not too far after, depending on what my other reading schedules end up being. Thank you very much for watching. Not a huge video here. I expect that when I've finished all 4 individual books within the compendium, I'll probably give a larger one and talk a bit more about Jack Vance and his writing and all that sort of thing. Have a great Saturday if you're watching that today in this part of the world, and if not, enjoy whatever day you're living and enjoy good books.